All right, today we're going to untangle what looks like a super complicated government rule, but it's actually a really fascinating story about trust and making things simpler for everyone. We're going to map out the exact journey a company in India takes when it decides to give up a special status related to its employees' retirement funds. So let's dive in and see how it works.
So let's just start with the most obvious question, right? Why would any company, after getting a special status from the government, turn around and voluntarily give it up? I mean, it sounds kind of backwards, doesn't it? Well, the answer tells us a lot about a major shift happening right now in India's social security system. To get what's going on, we gotta know the two types of players here. In India's Employee Provident Fund, or EPF system, you have exempted companies. They get to manage their own employees' retirement money in a private trust. Then you have unexempted companies, and they just pay directly into the big public fund run by the government's EPFO. So the big difference is who's holding the cash, a private trust or the government. And that brings us to the first big piece of the puzzle. Why would a company want to switch teams? Go from exempted to unexempted. Let's dig into the what and the why behind this huge decision. This didn't just happen overnight. The whole idea of a company being able to voluntarily surrender its status was first floated way back in 2016, but it took until October 2023 for a single official standard operating procedure, an SOP, to finally be put in place. This new SOP is now the one and only rulebook for how this is done. And check this out. A quote from the official document tells us exactly why companies are making this move. It boils down to two things. First, it's getting harder for these private funds to offer the same level of benefits as the main public system. And second, people are just starting to trust the government's EPFO a lot more. So this isn't about companies failing. It's a choice, a move towards a public system that's earning their confidence.
So if a company decides, okay, we're doing this, how does it actually begin? Well, you can't just flip a switch. There are some really specific first steps they have to take to get the ball rolling.
The whole thing starts with a checklist. First up, the company's own fund managers, the board of trustees, have to make it official with a board resolution. It's like the internal green light. Then they fill out the official application, Form SE1, and ship it off to the EPFO. And this is a big one. They have to arrange for an independent audit to make sure every penny is accounted for, and they have to foot the bill themselves. Okay, so the application is in. It's now officially out of the company's hands and has entered the system. The very first stop on this journey is the local EPFO regional office. Think of it as the first major checkpoint. Now, the folks at the regional office, or RO, have a few key jobs. They give the application a thorough once-over, check all the facts against their records, and make sure the company doesn't have any old issues or fines. If it all checks out, they issue a really important document called Form SE5. And this is where the new process really starts to show its teeth. See, the RO can't just let that application collect dust. They have a strict deadline, just 7 working days to do their initial review. If anything is missing or incorrect, they have to send it back within that 1-week window. It's a clear signal from the top. No more getting stuck in limbo. And that Form SE5 we just mentioned, it's a huge deal. It's like a temporary green light. It gives the company official permission to start acting like a regular, unexempted company and paying into the public fund, even while the rest of the paperwork is making its way through the system. Once they get that permission, another clock starts ticking. The company now has just 30 days to transfer all of the employee retirement savings, what the government calls past accumulations, from its private trust over to the public EPFO fund. This is the moment all that money officially changes hands. All right, so the company is now paying into the public system and all the old funds have been transferred. But we're not at the finish line yet. Now the application itself has to climb the approval ladder, moving from the local office all the way up to the national headquarters for the final sign-off.
The best way to think about this next part is like a relay race. The application is the baton and it gets passed up the chain. The regional office hands it off to the zonal office reviews it and passes it to the head office. The head office then takes it to 2 major committees. And finally, the recommendation goes to the appropriate government for the final official cancellation. And just like that first step, every runner in this relay race is on the clock.
The regional and zonal offices each get 30 days to do their part and pass the baton. And the head office gets just 15 days to get the final word to the government. This whole system is designed to make sure the application keeps moving and never gets lost in some bureaucratic black hole. We are so close. After climbing that entire ladder and clearing all the checkpoints, the application finally reaches the end of its long journey. This is the moment the company's special status is officially and permanently erased. The whole process comes down to this one key term, the cancellation date. This isn't the day the company applied or even the day they started paying into the new fund. This is the one specific date set by the government that officially marks the end of the company's exemption. It's the finish line. And the very last step is a public announcement. The regional office, right back where this whole thing started, issues what's called a Gazette notification. It's the final, formal notice to the world that the company's old private trust is history, and all of its employees are now official members of the public EPF fund. The journey is complete.
Okay, so we've followed this application from start to finish. But let's zoom out for a second. Why go to all this trouble to create this new, super detailed process? What's the big deal? Well, it's all about moving away from confusion and towards a single, standard way of doing things.
And the difference is just night and day. On the left, you have the old way, a total mess of random requests, no clear deadlines, and different rules in different offices. And on the right, you have the new SOP, one single, clear process with specific forms, strict timelines, and a system for tracking everything. It's a total game changer.
So what's the big takeaway here? This new SOP delivers 5 huge benefits. It gives us standardization and clarity so everyone is playing by the same rules. It brings in timeliness and accountability so things actually get done. And most importantly, all of that together works to build trust in the public system for companies and for their employees.
Which leaves us with one final thought. Think about this. By creating such a clear, predictable, and transparent exit path for companies, has the government actually made it more attractive for them to join and trust the public system in the first place? It's a pretty interesting idea to chew on. Thanks for joining me on The Explainer.